Hey everybody, this is Pierre Quinn, and you're listening to the Leading While Green podcast, where my mission is to help you live, learn, and lead with confidence. On this episode number 18, I'm talking about dream selling, wrestling with the question of who you really are. We'll confront the dangers of not clearing up the clutter, give a reminder that everyone starts from zero, and talk about the advantages that being a good public speaker can have on both your personal and professional life. So, listen up. I can hardly believe we've made it to episode number 18. Yeah, episode number 18. I challenged myself. I set a goal for myself in my mastermind group to do at least 52 weeks of this, 52 episodes. And then after those 52 episodes, just to reevaluate and see where we are and take it from there. So we are well on our way to 52 episodes of the Leading While Green podcast. And to kick off episode number 18, I just want to give a shout out to the Anomaly 80. The Anomaly 80 left a review on iTunes, and I encourage you to do the same thing. A shout out to everyone who left a review on iTunes. And I read many of these reviews on a previous episode, but we had a new one come in from the Anomaly 80. And this is what he says about the Leading While Green podcast. He says it's clear and concise. He says Pierre doesn't waste time with a lot of unnecessary fluff. He lays it all on the table, providing real life and actionable steps or leadership building activities. Overall life organizing tips that will point you in the direction of success. He says, as a busy management, or he or she, whoever you are, the Anomaly 80, as a busy management consultant, I don't have time for any book, blog, podcast, or conference that floats around topics or issues barely scratching the surface. He hits the points and drives them home before you even begin to look at your watch. Great stuff. So whoever you are, the Anomaly 80, well, shouts out to you. Appreciate your input, your feedback on the podcast. And as I said on previous episodes, the more you review this thing, the more we can take this message of effective leadership to the rest of the world. So thank you so much for that. Man, I was struggling this week. I was in the grocery store. And one of the things they tell you, I guess it's conventional wisdom, is that you're not supposed to go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Well, I went to the grocery store and I was hungry. And we were just picking up a few items for the house, but I hadn't eaten dinner yet or lunch. I don't know. I was just hungry, and I was in the grocery store with my wife, and I passed by the end cap. The end cap is at the end of the grocery store aisle, the items that they have facing you, and they put them there. They put a lot of sale items there. It's really a marketing thing. Well, they got me. The end cap got me because I saw some potato chips that were on sale. Now I passed them by at first and went on around the rest of the store, picked up what we needed from the other side of the store. But before we headed to the checkout, do you know I went all the way back to that end cap and picked up those chips? They were sweet honey barbecue chips. I don't know, but I saw the packaging and my mouth started watering. And potato chips have a way, and we've known this for years, but we keep buying them. Potato chips have a way of dream selling. Potato chip manufacturers are dream selling. The only chip that really gives you what's in the package are Pringles. I think Lay's has their version of Stacks. It looks, the container is similar, but I like Pringles much better. You know, from the bottom to the top, it's going to be all chips in a Pringles canister. But if you buy a bag of chips, like I did, I bought a bag of chips and came home, made a sandwich, was savoring, getting ready to dive into my sandwich and eat my chips. And I opened the bag and 60% of the bag was air. 60% of the contents of the bag was air. And I was really disappointed. I was disappointed because I let just impulse and desire at the moment and my wanting of chips put me in a place where I was willing to buy something that just didn't satisfy me in the long run. And marketers have a way of doing that. Marketers sometimes have a way of selling dreams. Well, I want to challenge you as leaders, as listeners to this podcast. Don't sell dreams. Sometimes we put ourselves in a place where our packaging, where our marketing is much better than what we actually offer. We go on social media and we put up these pithy quotes and we shoot pictures from just the right angle. But then when it comes time for us to perform, when it comes time for us to explain, when it comes time for us to speak up in meetings or deliver on what we're promising through our social marketing, we can't deliver. And I want to encourage you to work on your craft as much as you market what you're able to do. And I'm not just talking about marketing in a formalized way. Every time you post on social media, every time you give your opinion, every time you share a picture, you're really marketing yourself. You're positioning yourself. Whether you agree or not, it doesn't really matter. It's saying something about you. And then subsequently, when people interact with you, when they engage with you, they sometimes gauge you by what you've shared. And sometimes we find that many people are selling dreams. They're so courageous and opinionated and put together so well on social platforms. But when you hear them speak in person, when you hear them present, when you hear them share in real time with real people around, they can't deliver. So don't be like the bag of chips that I purchased from the grocery store this week. Have something to share and don't just sell dreams. All right. So that's my little rant about potato chips. I'm reading this book called Who Are You Really by Brian Little, and I'll put that in the show notes. Who Are You Really by Brian Little. And it's a short book. That's really the thing nowadays. It's a lot of short, punchy books written, quickly applicable books that are being written and people are just diving into. Well, Brian Little wrote this book and he's famous for his TED Talk. You could check him out on YouTube, wrestling with this question of who are you really? And he, as a brain scientist, as someone who is in the field of social science and psychology, he really pushes the reader of his book to question who you really are. And these are some of the camps that we live in. Some of us live in the camp or along the line of thinking that who you are is completely determined by your biology, by your DNA. And sometimes we talk about how we are a certain way because our parents were a certain way. I get it from my mom or I get it from my dad. But he says that we are more than just biogenic factors. There are some people who say we're just who we are nurtured to be, sociogenic factors, the context in which you were born. Some of us are athletes because we grew up not necessarily having an athletic propensity in our DNA, but we grew up around athletes or we had an affinity toward athletic things and being around, or maybe we grew up in a town where high school sports were a big thing and it really had an appeal to us. And because of that culture, that's why we are who we are. Well, Brian Little says we're more than just biology. We're more than just our culture, our social culture. He says the truth is that our biology and our sociology impact our ideology. And our ideology is just really how our perception or how we think about the world around us. And our biology and our sociology, our sociogenic context gives us a framework for how we see the world, our ideology. And that leads to an influence of the choices that we make. And in his book, Professor Little is suggesting that what we choose to pursue and the choices that we make can actually have a bigger impact on defining us than our biology, what we inherited, and our social construct, the environment we grew up in, framed by how we look at the world. And if you think about it, what you pursue really defines you. What you chase really defines you. It really shapes who you are. And that really causes us, especially as we're transitioning to 2018, it really causes us at this point in the year to be reflective and think about, what have I been chasing all of 2017? Have I been chasing relationships? Have I been chasing a career? Have I been chasing entrepreneurship? Have I been chasing social approval? What's the thing that you've been chasing? And how have your choices in the midst of chasing those things, in the midst of the social construct, how has that pursuit of that thing influenced your choices? And some of us will have to admit, as leaders, we've been pursuing the wrong thing. We've been pursuing a higher position. We've been pursuing higher social influence. And that has really detracted away from, it's really taken away from the influence and impact we were supposed to have, or that we were hired to have on our organizations and the people that we are called to serve. So if you wrote down your choices over the last week, what would they say about you? Let's just take our purchases. If you go back on your debit card and you pull up your banking app and you look at your purchases over the last 7 days, the things that you have chosen to spend money, the things you have chosen to transact business for, what would those things say about you? And how would they reveal who you really are? Now, that might be a bit daunting, a bit overwhelming, but along with that is the fact that we have a choice, a decision over the way our lives are led more than we give ourselves credit for. You have the opportunity and advantage to make some decisions about life. And I think the world has a way of making us feel pressure that where you are in life is where you have to be. I was talking with my wife about this week. There's a pressure sometimes that where you are in life is where you have to be. You've struggled your entire life academically. You're just going to struggle. You've struggled socially. You're just going to struggle. You struggled in your professional career. And there's some parts about the media and about the world and about popular culture that says, yeah, well, just suck it up and deal with it and self-medicate, live vicariously through movies and television shows and social media, live vicariously through stars and athletes and entertainers who are perceived to be living the best version of their lives. Just live through them and don't push through to what you're trying to achieve and accomplish. Listen, it's hard work being married. It's hard work being a parent. It's hard work being a leader. It's hard work being an influencer. It's hard work being an employee, but everything of value, everything that's worth having in life comes on the other side of hard work. And ask yourself, as you're transitioning from 2017 to 2018, how are your choices impacting who you are ultimately becoming? Hey, just want to give you a quick reminder about my Leaders 2018 New Year Action Guide. It's a 50-page guide that will help you evaluate some of the decisions that you made in 2017 and set you up to take greater action in 2018. And I'll put the link to this in the show notes. There's a free download. You can get it for absolutely free in PDF. And if you want a hard copy, I'll put a link to Amazon. You can get the hard copy, and it's really, really inexpensive for you as you begin planning for 2018. And one of the things that I wrestle with as a creative is clutter. Like this is kind of where I create the best when things are cluttered. I like papers around. I like jotting down notes. I like seeing pictures and doodles and markers everywhere. Now, my wife is not like that. My wife has to clean up before she starts to create, before she starts to plan, before she starts to write things down. Not me. I'm in the mess. I like being in the mess. And there are parts of my life that are fairly organized. There are parts of my life that are not. And usually my desk and my workspace are just wonkers, just crazy. Well, this has spilled over into my email life. And I remember I blogged about this a couple years ago, how to get your email inbox down to zero. And I almost missed out on the fact that I have a major speaking engagement next year in 2018 because my email inbox was so cluttered. There was something around 2,000 emails in there. And I know some of you are saying, Pierre, you're a lightweight. 2,000? I got 20,000 emails. Listen, if you got 20,000 emails, you probably just need to declare email bankruptcy and start all over with a completely new email address. But I found, and I've been pushing ever since I cleaned out my inbox, I've been pushing every day to get my inbox at zero. And to do that, this is my process. I said for every email, I'm going to take action. If it's not immediately applicable, I'm going to delete it. If it's a sales thing, I sign up for a lot of free webinars and PDFs, and sometimes I'm on email lists. But at this stage, that's not really the information I'm needing right now. So I unsubscribe from the email list. I file things away. If it's something that I downloaded, I try to print it out or sign it and send it back just to take action. I've made subfolders for things that I need to file for later use or for documentation's sake. I mean, I've been doing that for a little bit now, but not on a consistent basis. So I took up the mantle of saying, okay, I'm going to get my email inbox down to 0. And I got it down to 0. And as I was cleaning out my email inbox, I got a reminder from an event planner that I had been selected to speak at a national education conference in 2018. And I would have just forgotten about that experience, forgotten about the fact that I needed to plan for that and put that in my calendar and begin strategizing around that and finalizing the details. And there's some stuff in your life that you're going to overlook, that you're going to miss out on because you got too much clutter. You got too much clutter. Even for those of us who are creatives and we got to have stuff all over the place. Every so often, you got to get in there and throw away stuff, throw away papers that you don't need anymore, shred some stuff. I got a shredder underneath my desk. Scan some stuff and keep a digital copy. You just got to get some of the clutter out of the way so you can get to what you need to get to and to really to lead with clarity. So I want to challenge you to get that email inbox down to 0. And some of you say, well, I work at a job where we don't delete emails. I get you. I get you on the professional email. For archiving purposes, you don't delete emails, you just archive them. Nothing should be deleted because you need it. Okay, that's fine. But in your personal space, in your personal email address, you get coupons every morning, you get sales updates every morning, you get recipes, you got stuff that you've forgotten about. You bought some tickets online and now the ticket service, Ticketmaster or SeatGeek keeps sending you emails. You got to get that stuff out of there. Clean up your inbox and allow your inbox to take a deep breath so that you can reduce stress in that area and things won't be overwhelming. You got to get that email inbox down to 0. And as a reminder, let me tell you that everybody starts from 0. Did you know that? Did you realize that? Everybody starts from 0. When you first got your email address, there were no emails in it. Well, maybe there was one from the email service provider, but not anything that you really paid attention to. And you deleted that email and you started all over. And over time, you accumulated all of that email content, all of those messages. Well, the other areas of your life are the same. Everybody starts at 0. And sometimes we're really guilty as people who are influencers and impact the lives of other people. We are guilty. We're guilty of looking at the highlights of everyone else. We're guilty of looking at people 10, 20, 30 years down the road and saying, I really want to be like that. Sometimes I look at people who have been speakers for a long time, who have been professional speakers for much longer than I've been a professional speaker. And you look at their careers and you look at the stages and you look at the impact that they're able to have, and you say, man, I really, really want to have that. And how can I advance my life so I can get there? Well, the truth is they started from 0. They started from nobody knowing their name, to having to knock on doors and to send emails and to go to meetings and to pitch themselves. No, it's rare that you start off as the top of a company with the influence and respect that you see from someone from a long career. Even if you just start a business. I know some people who listen to this are entrepreneurs. Even when you just start a business and you fill out the LLC paperwork and you put yourself down as a CEO, many times you're the CEO of a company of one or a few people, and you're broke and you're struggling and you're trying to make your product, you're trying to make your service better. And it takes you a while to get to the place where your brand is recognizable or your influence is accepted. For people in the ministry space, it takes a while. If this is your aspiration, it takes a while to get to a place where you're a ministry influencer and you have a notable ministry, a notable church, a notable blog, or a notable book that people are asking you for advice, to consult with them, to present. It takes a while because everybody starts with zero. Everybody starts from zero, and you have to keep going. You have to just keep trying. It's just, man, I look so much at how there are a lot of people in this world who are doing great things, and they're not the most talented individuals. They're just not the most persistent ones. And for those who are not persistent, who are not consistent, it really doesn't matter how much talent you have. It really doesn't matter. And Alan Stein was a basketball trainer. He trained some of the most notable athletes in the NBA, and he's recently pivoted to speaking and consulting and leadership development. And I was listening to him on a podcast, and he was talking about going to work out with Kobe Bryant. He said he woke up really, really early in the morning to go to work out with Kobe Bryant, or to go to watch Kobe Bryant work out. And he said Kobe had agreed to meet him at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And by the time he got there, he said he thought he was going to get there early. By the time he got there, Kobe had already worked up a sweat. He was already into his workout. And he said the workout was pretty boring. He sat and watched for maybe about an hour or so, and it was pretty boring. And he said later on that evening at a basketball camp, he pulled Kobe to the side and he asked him a question. He said, Kobe, why do you do those same old basketball drills that we teach kids, that we teach third and fourth graders, that we teach young kids, these basics? And he said something to the effect that it's one thing to become the best basketball player in the world, but to stay on top of your game, you have to consistently do the basic things. You have to stay with them over and over. You have to be committed to it. And I've watched basketball ever since I was a little kid, and it always amazes me how some people with the most talent can't stay on teams, and people who don't have as much talent, they can't stay on team. People who don't have as much talent have long careers. And why? They're willing to do the drills. They're willing to come to practice on time. They're willing to show up and put the hard work in. If they have 15 minutes of playtime or no playtime at all, they're consistent in what they're able to do. And there's a lot of stuff we won't see in life because we're not consistent enough. And I want to challenge you in all the areas of your life to work to be consistent. Pick one thing, one area. For me right now, it's this podcast every week, coming to you and sharing my thoughts and experiences on leadership. And I'm watching how my influence is growing just from this podcast because I'm consistent with it. And I want to challenge you to pick one area of life and pound the stone every single day. Pound it every week. Be consistent with it and watch how your influence develops. Now, speaking of influence, I want to invite you, if you're in the Maryland, DC, Virginia, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the DMV, if you're in this area, I want to invite you on December 21st to my public speaking workshop in Laurel, Maryland. And you can find out more information on about that workshop at speak2017.eventbrite.com. I've taught public speaking for about 10 years. I've been speaking for about 20 years. I really embraced my gift of speaking the summer of 1995 at Cambridge University in Cambridge, England, where I was doing a summer study program with high school students. And I took a class in speech and debate and really loved the class, walked away from the class with an excellent grade. And it really helped me begin to embrace my gift of speaking. So been doing this for a while, had an incredible year speaking this year. And I want to share with you at that workshop some of the insights to becoming a more effective public speaker. And we'll practice some stuff. It'll be really, really fun, really interactive. I promise you won't regret it. The workshop given to you at a steal, $35, 2-hour interactive session, some tips that are going to help you become a better public speaker in 2018. So sign up for that at speak2017.eventbrite.com. And in preparation for the workshop, I was reading an ebook an ebook called Successful Public Speaking by Arina, Nikitina. And I'm sorry, Arina, if I slaughtered your name. I apologize. I'll put the link to this in the show notes as well. Successful Public Speaking. And she says in this ebook, she says, improving your ability to speak in front of others and learning to talk about who you are and what you do with natural grace and authenticity can go a long way in expanding your social circle, building strong relationships with successful, like-minded people, and making new friends. And she outlined some ways in which becoming a better public speaker can really benefit you. And I'll shoot these out to you. Increased confidence, improved communication skills, increased organizational skills, greater social influence, enhanced ability to learn, greater possibility of meeting new people, lesser anxiety and fear when speaking in front of others, improved memory, enhanced persuasion ability, and greater control over emotions and body language. And I get it. After having taught public speaking for nearly a decade, it's true. There's some people who really fear public speaking worse than death. But I'm telling you, as you grow and develop your skills as a speaker, it has amazing impact, not just on your personal life, but also on your professional life. From the same ebook, Successful Public Speaking, she notes, developing your communication skills and learning to speak in public can benefit you in the following ways. Opens up new opportunities for career advancement. I know there's some opportunities I've gotten in life simply because I could give a presentation, because I could explain myself well. Having improved communication skills positions you as an authority. It sets you apart from competitors. It attracts the right customers to your business. You can present technical or business information effectively. It produces a faster sales cycle. It allows you to effectively market your business. It improves internal communication. And for many of the organizations that I work with, it's a challenge with internal communication because businesses and organizations know what they're supposed to do, but they don't know how to communicate it to each other. And having leaders that can communicate well really helps the organization. It prepares you for spontaneous speaking challenges. Sometimes as a leader, as a project manager, as a participant in just a work environment, you're going to be called to give remarks, to give update, to give feedback. And you got to be able to speak with clarity in order to do that. So I want to invite you December 21st in Laurel, Maryland. That's this Thursday. From 6:30 to 8:30, I'm having a public speaking workshop. I promise you, I'm going to help you in 2 hours really get a handle on taking the steps to becoming a better public speaker to enhance your personal and professional life. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. So check that out at speak2017.eventbrite.com. speak2017.eventbrite.com. And I'm going to ask you again, like Anomaly 80 did, and I read his or her review at the beginning of the podcast. Anomaly 80 gave me a great review on iTunes. I need your review too, because as you review the podcast, the more 5-star reviews we get, the more we show up in the iTunes algorithm, and the more people are on notice that we're taking this message of effective leadership to the world. Appreciate all your love and support. And it's my mission to help you live, learn, and lead with confidence. And hopefully this episode of the Leading While Green podcast is helping you take a step in that direction. So until next time, take care and God bless.